Hi guys, this is my review of the Sirio GL27 no ground plane antenna. Okay, out of the box, how it looks. Well, quite simply, there's a whip, a ground plane, an attachment for the ground plane and whip. Also, it can be angle adjustment. You also get coax, but rather annoyingly, they give you one PL plug, obviously, for this end, but they don't give you one for the other end. But I suppose you could put a BNC plug on it or something similar. You also get a wing mirror kit. You can do with that what you will. Instructions, or pretty much that's the spec of it. What we're looking at is quarter wave whip, 50 ohms impedance, frequency range 26 to 28 megahertz, omnidirectional vertical, vertical standing wave ratio at frequency resonation 1.2. Okay, this particular antenna can have, I think it's something like 15 watts continuous power and 50 watts peak. So you could run a burner on this, for instance, at about 25 watts all day long. There is kind of like handling instructions and bits and pieces, also written in French, German, Italian, Czech, Polish, and Russian, and Italian as well. Okay, well, first impressions. The antenna itself, the whip, is actually fiberglass. Okay, it's not hugely long. It's about, I'd say, about a metre. The spring at the bottom is quite heavy duty, so that's pretty impressive. The kind of like what I would class as the counterpoise or the ground plane itself, well, it's big, it's heavy, it's bulky, very ugly in my personal opinion. I hope it's just not a ferrite core wound round a load of cable, because they really are gash. But we shall see. So I'm going to put this antenna together, and we'll see what it looks like whilst it's together. Okay, here's the Sirio GL27 all put together. Now, height from the bottom to the top in inches comes out at just around 47 inches, which works out at about 119, 120 centimetres. So, it's not the most big antenna in the world, but it's build quality. Now it's all together. This bit here is a little bit bulky, looks pretty ugly. Well, actually, I don't know. It's kind of got something about it that actually looks quite nice. Ugly but nice. Very strange. Okay, integrity test. Let's have a look and see what the spring can do. Quite impressed at that. Okay, so you know you're not really going to break it by driving along. As far as the whip's concerned, as I say, it's fiberglass. A little bit, well, it's nice and flexible, so obviously you're not going to snap it off. Weight-wise, it is, I'd say a little bit on the heavy side, but it's, as I say, the build quality's there. Everything, apart from this bit that's a bit gawky, all the build quality is absolutely beautiful, just what you'd expect really from a Sirio antenna. So far, I'm very impressed with it. But obviously the proof is in the pudding. Let's see what it's like on the van. I'm going to modify this bracket for it to go on my camper van. But you do what you will, however you can clamp it to it. Obviously it comes with this type of clamp, so you can clamp it to steps or whatever you want on the back of your camper van, if you've got them, or modify a gutter mount or something. So we'll put it on the van and see what it's like at receiving. Okay guys, welcome back. Well, I've had the Sirio GL27 on my camper van. Receiving wise, it's a little bit deaf. It works okay to about 3, maybe even, well, 3.5 miles. I've had some QSOs on it fairly clear, which is pretty good. But I found a massive design flaw. It's been on the van possibly about a month. All of a sudden, hopped in the van, went to use it, keyed up, my Cobra told me antenna warning. So I checked the cable, everything else, and I found this part here, which is the counterpoise ground plane, had filled with water, which started corroding some parts on here, etc. And basically the swat went sky high. Really quite disappointed, really. But so what I'm going to do to try and fix this problem is, when you first look at this part, it has a hole in the side, okay, with a grub screw in. Take that grub screw out, which is there, but don't forget, or be very very careful. There is a little brass lug which slides in before the grub screw. Don't lose that; it's really important. Take the 4 screws out of the bottom, and then this part pulls away from this part, but take the grub screw out first, or you'll end up snapping this part off of the top. What I've done is I've dried it all out. Now I can't get this part off of the plastic, so what I'm going to do is, I can't really show you on the video, but where this part screws onto this part, which I can only assume it does, I'm going to put a bead of silicone around on the inside to try and seal it. Also a bead of silicone inside here. There is this rubber seal which sits inside this part, so I'm going to silicone that too and see if I can hold out the water. Put it back together, and then I'll finish the review. But so far, not good. Okay guys, well, it's back together and it is now working. What more can I say about it, really? Obviously it's had its flaws. It serves a purpose, but I am sure there are better things on the market. As I say, I'm disappointed with the fact that I've had to do some quite, well, rebuild work on it just to get it working again properly. Not what I'd expected, but still, never mind, it's back working. The swaz within rough check of what it was originally, so that's not too bad. As I say, as a whole, it's great because you can bung it anywhere. As I say, about 3.5 miles. 4 if you're lucky. If you had a burner, you'd probably get it further, but whether you could receive would be another thing. All in all, there's probably better things on the market, but it serves a purpose. So I'd say, if you had the money and you could find it cheap enough, buy it. If not, buy something else, definitely. Thanks very much for watching my review, and catch up with you soon. Cheers guys, bye bye.